Let us now take you to Sweden, where a national election has been taking place, with the headlines being grabbed by the strong challenge made by the right-wing parties. One of those is the anti-immigration Sweden Democrats, who appear to be on course to become the second largest party in parliament for the first time in Swedish history. To tell us more, we can speak now to Kent Ekeroth, a former member of parliament with the Sweden Democrats and now a media commentator. Welcome, Kent. This is a very big moment for your party, the Sweden Democrats. Can you tell us why you think you did so well in this election?
Well, in a sense, it's been sort of a perfect storm in Swedish politics. We have had continued huge problems with immigration and crime, which is two of the main issues that brought Sweden Democrats into parliament in the first place. And then, in addition to that, we had the energy crisis, which is mainly caused by the Social Democrats by dismantling the nuclear power. And the only party in the Swedish parliament that has for Swedish Democrats have been in parliament for 12 years, but the party has always been an advocate for nuclear power. So I think these three issues sort of combined in this year's election to give this rise to Sweden Democrats, making us the second largest party.
Let's just discuss in detail that link then between the crime and immigration and refugees. Sweden took in a record number of refugees in 2015. Are you suggesting that the current violence is a result of that? It is a legacy of that open door policy?
Yeah, without a doubt. Not only in 2015, but the open door policy that both the liberal government of Sweden has had and the social governments, socialistic governments that Sweden has had for basically since the 1980s has created this environment, and immigration and crime is very much linked, and no one is really contesting that in Sweden these days. They did not too long ago, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm. And so would you say that with this election then we will see more election outcome, we will see more restrictions on immigration? And what does that say about the transformation of the society in general? Can we now talk about Sweden as a country that has moved to the right?
Well, first of all, the election isn't really over. The social conservative parties, the so-called right-wing, I don't think they want to be described as right-wing, only lead with 47,000 votes out of, I'm sure, over 6.5 million. And we have the votes from Swedish citizens abroad and also other votes that hasn't been counted yet. So it's not 100% complete, but it looks like it's going to be. If this result stands, this is obviously a huge shift in Swedish politics. For the first time, it's not the Social Democrats versus the moderates. It's now the Social Democrats versus the Sweden Democrats. That's the biggest opposition party, and that's a big shift in Swedish politics. It's also the first time, more or less, since Sweden became a full democracy, that we haven't had either socialist government or liberal government. Now we have a social conservative government that has a critical view on immigration and what's happened to Sweden in the last 40 years. So this is a huge shift. This is like the biggest thing that happened in Swedish politics in my life and before.
Now, Sweden was a big partner of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, where I come from, and we know that country to be very big on welfare and taking care of citizens who are marginalized and impoverished. Does that mean the end to Sweden as a welfare state, but also as a global partner in democratic struggles across the world?
Obviously not. All the parties on the sort of if the new government is formed are both democratic, and there's no party that's contesting the welfare state. The Sweden Democrats, my party, is actually a strong advocate of it, and they call themselves the social voice of this new possible government. So they are not going to let the moderates demolish the welfare state. We think it's very important that people get a general security net with education, healthcare, and all those things. So it's not a depart from the welfare state. It's actually saving or defending the welfare state that has been under attack for decades now, due to immigration and due to crime that comes with immigration. So this is it's not an exit from the welfare state. It's actually a defense of it.
Kent Ekeroth, a former member of parliament with the Sweden Democrats and now a media commentator. Thank you for your time.